Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk Together, where today we're talking with the cast of Huxley's Book Club.
Hello.
So I'm tired.
We're all too engrossed in our books still.
I just had a baby, I'm tired. How's everyone doing? We all good? Yes.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Well rested, yeah.
Well rested. This is good. I'm so pleased for you. Cool. So, Huxley's Book Club, a lovely, quiet, gentle tale, low level, right? Yeah, lots of like hanging out, reading nice books in a library. It's just Mike, what possessed you?
It's Liz's fault.
Okay. Liz, what possessed you?
Many things have possessed me during my time with Roll Together.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Okay. We'll get to questions about the show and more, but first, let me tell you a bit about Roll Together. Really? No, I'm not that much. We're rolling dice. I ask questions based on dice rolls. Although if you watched this channel before, you know that I give no fucks. So chances are I'll be asking lots of questions that I want the answer to, and then I'll roll some dice towards the end. And I remember there's a format point, and that will be the thing that we do. So that's what we're going to go today. Yeah, that's the plan. The stream runs for an hour. We're delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, Phoenix Dice, and Alchemy RPG, and supported by Idle Champions, Neverwinter, Elderwood Academy. Hey, there's social media in our name. You could do stuff there. I'm so down on social media, as you can tell. So it's really my jam.
So down with that web surfing.
There's even a TikTok where one of us will tell you the time. That's how it works, right?
TikTok,
that's what TikTok means. Yes,
correct.
You log on and someone tells you the time. I assume that's why it's called TikTok. Otherwise, why is it called TikTok? Doesn't matter. Okay, we're also on Patreon. Please help. Okay. D20 Club support us there, and they are awesome, and you can join them. Just search for Roll Together RPG on Patreon. You can also watch our shows on Twitch, as you might be doing now, watch our shows on YouTube, as you might be doing now, or listen to our shows as podcasts, as you might be doing now. And if either of the other two are also available to you. Good. Right. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Chris.
It's actually 1 week since my second child was born. I'm real tired. All right, good. Let's do this. I'm not going to roll a dice. I'm going to ask questions because I want to ask people questions. My first question is going to be to Liz. And Liz.
Hello.
Huxley's a fucking ledge. We all know this.
Okay.
I didn't know when you came to me and said, can Huxley have a husband who may or may not be dead, and it's going to be a real sad backstory for what was it for swamps? What was the adventure called?
Blackwater.
Thank you. Drowning in Blackwater. We went, yeah, this will be a lovely backstory piece, and no one will torture you with it later.
No.
Mike, did you?
I was in both as well.
Did you know what Mike was planning for poor Huxley? Because that's some dark shit.
I did not know specifically, but
Okay.
I did say to Mike, because Huxley was last, right? So I, as a player, got to see everyone else's backstories come to fruition. So I kind of had a little heads up that might be happening to Huxley. So I said, hey, Mike, hey.
Trauma.
Knowing that there's, a hint of trauma in Huxley's backstory. And I basically said to Mike, hey, torture Huxley as much as you'd like. That's totally fine. Put him through the ringer. I, as a player, adore it. So yes, to answer your question, yes.
Good. I'm glad there was consent. Okay. Experiencing it was very much we wrote this as kind of a sad backstory that's never going to come up that often, with like tiny little touches of Mike come up, and now it's real. So always a thing.
Although when you know that you have quite a harrowing backstory and that you wrote it about 6 months ago, and when it comes around, you're like, oh God, what did I write? Oh no.
What was I thinking?
Oh, that happened to me? Oh no. But no, it was fine. It was fine.
I mean, this was a party of harrowing backstories is harsh, but this was a party with a lot of baggage. I mean, they're all level 14, and some of them are meeting for the first time, so of course there was going to be baggage. Although some like to have baggage thrust upon them, Josh.
Sorry.
You're right.
True,
upon me.
It's so true.
Josh, did you intentionally decide to make all of your characters ruin each other's lives? Is that intentional? Because
I always said with this character, when I bought the next new character that I bring in would connect all of my other characters together.
hang on, all? Like, I get that Ezekiel is Alaric's dad. I got that.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that some of your other characters are the briefly in episode 3 mentioned estranged children.
Yes. The only two characters that I've played that aren't connected are McGlover from the Christmas one shot and Jax from Addie's Otherworld one shot. They're the only two that aren't connected. But
so hang on, how's the bugbear connected? What?
What?
How's your bugbear connected?
So I don't have a bugbear.
I have a bugbear.
Oh God, my head.
I also do.
Huxley is a bugbear.
Huxley's a bugbear. Okay,
So many bugbears.
hang on.
All the
Hobgoblin. What's your character?
Hobgoblin.
What's the character called from
Garnot.
Nexus? Garnot. How's Garnot connected?
He's adopted.
Oh.
There's a big whole story as to how he got hold of how they came to be, and there was a Fae involved, and as we've discovered through Blaze's backstory, not all Fae are good, but this particular Fae was, so
Jakarth and Garnot, they're all related. So Jakarth is Alaric's son.
yeah, by blood, and then Garnot was adopted, and then as we found out, Ezekiel from Silver Ridge is his very naughty daddy.
Very naughty daddy.
Father. Let's not say daddy, let's say father.
Yeah, it felt really weird after I said it.
Sorry. So Sir Tane from Ancient Antics canon went to Candlekeep. No, went to Waterdeep and established a saucy section in the library of the Blackstaff.
Yes.
And I believe Naughty Daddy may have been one of the titles.
Oh, Naughty Horse Daddy. That's
Naughty
right,
Horse
Naughty Horse
Daddy.
Daddy. I remember Naughty Horse Daddy.
Can we do a single one of these without the word daddy coming up in some context?
Nope.
I believe, Evie, it was your idea.
I believe that section is where Alaric picked up the 50 Shades of Fae book
Great.
that he's been trying to get everybody to read.
Great stuff. Yeah. Our lore is so deep. Deep and muscular and girthy. Good. Well, now we've got another book to add to the book section of books written by characters as well, Evie. The Dragon Within.
The Dragon Within on all of the bestseller lists.
Please tell me that the name came first.
No, I actually didn't come up with the name until right on stream, and I was like, what's the cringiest title? The Dragon Within.
You improv'd The Dragon Within.
I did, yes.
That's very impressive. Very good.
Thank you.
Do any of the other characters... Damn it, stop writing things in chat. Do any of the other characters come off well in The Dragon Within? Is any of the Ancient Antics crew given a chance to shine, or is it just all teenage story?
Pretty well. I mean, they're kind of like the simpering sidekicks, in a way, but like in an endearing way to certain readers. I'm sure other people find them very annoying, but...
Hang on. From the Ancient Antics cast, who's read The Dragon Within? So Griffon Satane has definitely read The Dragon Within. I'm put out there.
Well, has he learned to read? He's probably learned to read by now.
If he's written a book called Big and Deep and Girth, whatever the fuck it was called, then...
No, that was about him.
Oh, that was about him. Naughty Horse
he
Daddy,
was the protagonist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's read that book.
Oh.
I don't think he can read yet.
He can read, yeah, despite working in a library and organising a... Yeah, okay. But the others have read it. AF4 wouldn't care. I mean, it's an assumption that AF4 wouldn't care. That's what...
Everyone also can't read.
AF4 also can't read. Can no one read? Okay,
The only other person in the party that could read, I think, was the lady.
I'm pretty sure David's massive giant meat grinder, whose name I've forgotten...
Lauren or something like that? Sir Torvald.
Sir Torvald, thank you. I'm sure Sir Torvald could read. Sir Torvald was very smart. That was the whole point. He was a huge beef slab, but also very clever.
That's true. I imagine it was presented to him, and he was like, "Thank you." Just put it on a shelf, never to be looked at again.
Zeleny sat in some dark graveyard, because Tom's characters are always in graveyards, just huddled behind a stone, reading it, going, "Why? Why does she continue to ruin my life?"
I just have a headcanon that the Zeleny, the secret paladin, is a not so secret paladin, and I'm just always aware where she is, what she's doing.
My headcanon of Zeleny still remains that she's like scuttling from village to village, being secret. And everyone's like, what's up with her? We don't know. We don't talk about it because that's what Tom would do. So that's all I have. And of course, we also had some new characters. Don't want to focus too much on the existing ones with Grimnir and Blaze coming in for the first time. Johnny, talk to me about Blaze, because Blaze made a pact with a Fey warlock to travel the multiverse through the lantern, but also stuck in it forever. So literal genie in a bottle.
Yeah, so Blaze actually started off, I remember I messaged Mike and I said, Mike, I want to play a sentient flame. So literally just a candle burning and then became sentient. And obviously there's no D&D equivalent to, hey, you're a sentient flame. There's no stat blocks or racial blocks for that.
Fire Genasi is pretty close.
Yeah, so I chose Fire Genasi, and then I was kind of scouring, thinking, well, how can I make this fit? And I saw Warlock, and I was like, I've never played a Warlock, ever. I've normally played Paladins or Sorcerers. And I saw Warlock, and I saw the Genie in a bottle, and I was like, well, this literally ticks every single box.
Also, Genie Warlocks, from a gameplay perspective, are filth.
Yeah.
Utter dirty filth.
There's actually a really cool kind of side thing to that. Because everyone signed my book, that lasts until it's used, which means that in future games, if any of these characters come back, they will have that one free kind of death save from Blaze, because it carries on until it's used.
Do they teleport to your location as well? Is that a thing?
Nope. No, they just come back and the name is erased from my book. So as long as they don't all die at the same time, that's fine.
Please tell all future DMs of any of these characters, Harry, by the by, they get one. They get one. Everyone gets one.
They have one free. But yeah, so the Genie Warlock kind of fit in perfectly, and then the natural Fey in me was like, well, how can I mess with this a little bit, make it a little bit more funky, and that's how I kind of decided to. Blaze needed to get out of the Fey. Blaze wanted to get out of the Fey, wanted to explore, so made a deal with an Archfey and was able to. But as soon as they went into the Lantern, that was it. They need someone to summon them out of the Lantern, and so their long kind of. In my head, it was so kind of sad, because you can imagine Blaze just for centuries watching. People, watching
in your
themselves.
head, it was sad. It was sad.
Yeah.
When everyone's in the lantern, everyone's just sat there going, well, this sucks. What happens now? Nothing. And you're there freaking out, going, no. Like, that was awful. It's tragic.
Just traveling around the world, like watching things from inside, people using them as an actual lantern, and then ending up in a dragon's hoard for hundreds of years, watching adventurers die trying to steal gold. Yeah.
Now, I had a nice question about your character, but now that you've mentioned that scene, we need to talk about. I was summoned. And I heard your call. Does scatter work outside of an extra-dimensional space? Is an interesting phenomenon. Liz, what was your thinking here? Because rules as written, rules as intended. There's a really interesting dialectic in this one.
So I like to quote someone called Chris Hislop when I say, "What does the spell say?"
Yeah, correct. Yes, wording is very important. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, scatter says that the caster can see.
Yes.
It does not specify cannot be cast over planes, whereas other spells do.
Yes.
Like the teleport spell specifies you can't teleport between planes. It has to be the same plane of existence. So theoretically, if a player is in a position where they can see, they don't know it's another plane. So they can see out of a window that happens to be on another plane of existence. They can then scatter, which will teleport those people to where they can see.
All right. First of all, player ignorance is not tantamount to this. The world works that way. Just a general point, or even character ignorance in this case.
Actually, I've got
you missed off DM ignorance as well.
I've got a very slight kind of addition to that, actually, which works really well in the narrative.
Go on.
So, Blaze also has teleportation spells. Blaze can teleport to something that they can see as well.
Yes.
But I think because they had been stuck in that lantern for so long, they didn't believe it was possible. And then in Mike's narrative, where things that we believe and things that we say become possible, Huxley, regardless of the actual rules and the multiversal problems, Huxley believed that was going to work, so it worked.
I mean, I was thinking about this, the only case I can think of where you could potentially see into another plane of existence, but not necessarily be able to teleport there is through a gate or something similar. So there is precedent for it not being achievable. But I think Mike was completely correct that for story purposes, it was gorgeous to allow it A, and B, to make it based on a roll, because that meant there was a success trigger, and it meant the rolling, what was it, like 20, nearly 30, I think, something like that. I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but from a DM perspective, rule of cool, A, is very important. B, it, for the narrative, always more important. And C, it gave you that sense of Huxley wants this, the dice have given us the gumption to make it bigger and better, therefore this is a cool effect. I thought that was very cool.
I don't like putting stuff in front of people and then just going, yeah, there's no solution.
Yeah, it's not my vibe as a DM
sitting
either.
there until someone gives me a satisfying enough solution.
It's when you as a DM get that point where someone says, can I do this? And you go, no.
Yeah.
What now, DM? Like, why would you shut that down?
And it was so cool, and it led to, I'll be honest, I never actually thought they'd end up back at the Hod. That was originally where Alaric and Josh's story would have ended up.
Oh.
But it sort of changed in the end, and that was perfectly fine. But that was actually going to be...
Point of order. So the dragon encounter was avoidable.
Absolutely.
You fools!
But did we avoid it when we went to Alaric's journey? Because if you'd planned that encounter and the Horde for Alaric and we didn't do it, that kind of ties in nicely.
You got to it in the end, and we ended up with the absolute chaos of 3 dragons in one room, all and
there were more than 3.
There was 4.
Oh, there was 4 dragons, yes, because there was Reginald as well.
Yep.
Well, 5.
Yeah, and my brain was slowly melting in that fight. But it was great fun.
I did have that DM moment that I'm sure you get this too, Mike, and you too as well. There's actually a lot of us here are DMs. But at that point, we were watching another DM going, why did you do this to yourself?
I was just slowly adding stuff to my encounter.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I've had those before. I look at the encounter and go, what was I thinking?
I think it was very avoidable in the Alaric story, because I sort of went off and started shouting at Mike at one point.
It was great fun.
It was very characterful. It was very nice, and also Mike made some really, shoutable at NPCs. So this is good.
Absolutely.
By the way, Mike, Danir's supposed to be an old, kindly gentleman, so this Prattler version is the worst.
Well, in technicality, he started off relatively nice, maybe a little bit poke funny, but he just kind of regressed very quickly. But we can talk about that in a different section.
Let's talk about it now. We're talking about it now. Because...
So I was trying to hint at from the very start that the Prattler was basically like regressing.
Yeah.
In, from the very start, leaving little hints that he wasn't particularly in control anymore. And the players picked up on it immediately, talking of writer's block, stuff like that, all these different things that I was sort of hinting at. And he slowly regressing from this quite fun, enjoyable person to be around to becoming, nasty and a bully. But that wasn't just like an immediate drop. It was trying to hint that it was almost like he was clutching on to what he should be.
Yeah.
And that was really fun to play with, especially in a deity form. Because a lot of the time it's so easy to go with a god and go, cool, they're going to be like omniscient, omnipotent, like, and just completely be this inflammable being in front of the players. But instead making them more personal, making them have flaws, make mistakes, like where as soon as they picked apart in the first session, saying, well, it doesn't make sense, there's plot holes. And you can see the Prattler just be like, you're having that conversation. Like the fact that Evie's character had the confidence to even just be like, nah, fuck you, you're a dick. To a god.
This is
like,
incorrect.
But like creating a character that the players, even though they are very fully aware that character is in complete control of them. And you kind of have to play the game, but making them almost come across as inept. And, you could potentially, it's looking at someone and going, I may not be able to beat you physically, but I might be able to trick you.
Well, it's that
Just my
how does one
tricky.
how does one fight a god? Because do anything, say anything. But the ability then to potentially hoodwink them or change their mind and that sort of thing becomes the more prevalent thing. It's really interesting. This is a bit of a side note, but I found it fascinating. We used Milil, who is the god of creativity and painting, in particular in Baldur's Gate Framed a lifetime ago, for a similar sort of thing. They ended up in a painted world that was Milil's realm. Towards the end, and had a paintbrush that them paint the way, but Milil never appeared at the end, very briefly, to take the brush back. I think I can't quite remember, but this idea of being in a creative space which you can warp and alter, and that's another combat where I did that to myself, where it was a room full of holes that all led to other bits of the room, so it was an Escher. It was awful. I did it to myself. Like, it was great fun, but it was that DM thing where you go, why?
Even I'm confused now.
I think I hand waved. Everyone's within 30 feet of each other by definition of jumping through various holes. Very Guardians ending, I feel, somehow. Yes. Grimnir. We haven't got to Grimnir yet. I am sorry.
There's a lot to talk about.
Dams.
Yep. Grimnir, canonically amazing legs, joining a long host of Roll Together characters with amazing legs. There seems to be a thing that we do. Like, Huxley's famously got very good legs as well.
Is it because when we do this, we only ever see the top halves of our bodies? So we're like, no, my legs are fucking good.
Liz, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's your and my fault for having obsessions with short shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real life and in game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out on a limb.
Anyway, Nathan, Grimnir. Who is the god of therapy?
I think the god of therapy is an unknown entity, to a certain extent. It's whoever you need it to be.
I was going to dig the lore.
Therapy,
I was going to dig the lore. I'm pretty sure that somewhere there's a god of healing and medicine that could tie in with this.
Right, but it's like a subsection of that, where like I think there, it's in recent years, I think the gods have really recognized that mental health care is really important, and that there needs to be some more kind of religious, arcane resources put into it, and so they just have their own god now of mental health and of mental wellness and such, and Grimnir is thankfully treated by some aspect avatar cleric or just kind of like individual associated with such a person.
Are we saying that it's now canon that Grimnir's therapist, as in the person that Grimnir was personally seeing in person, was actually the god of therapy in some kind of avatar form?
I'm not going to say canonically anything. I'm leaving it open to future storytellers, but I would say Grimnir would be a big get as far as like if you're counting souls that you have saved through the power of therapy. Grimnir's a good one in terms of like, see, it is worth it. We did, this is a big devotee. So even if it's not literally the god of like, Grimnir has enough kind of spiritual juice there to be, of great interest for any representative therein. Are
we sensing paladin levels?
There's too much going on. He's already multi-classed. He's already a zealot barbarian. There's enough. I could barely play him as is. There's too many dice, too many things to add.
Hey, so, I'm just saying, from this side of the screen, having run barbarian paladins in the past, it's real good. It's real.
I know, but
real spice.
He's already barbarian fighter, and that's just.
Oh yeah, it just too much. All of the stacking damage. It's just.
I know, but it's too much because boy. No character app likes running any of those characters.
No, they don't. You have to really know what you're doing.
It can't be more complicated.
I can't find a god of therapy. The closest they get is what's his chops? Lathander, god of dawn and renewal. But I can't find anything more. There's probably one somewhere.
Right, Jurgle.
Jurgle's god of death. I think.
I mean, the Prowler could help. How much
in death healing. I kill the body, but I heal the mind. Yeah,
ego, death, etc. Yeah.
Go on then. Chat, we can't see you because we pre-record, but if you want to write in your suggestions for the god of therapy for Nathan, we'll check it afterwards. And, we'll see what happens. So, okay, Grimnir used to be a terrible barbarian. That is clear. Checkered past. Did you have any specific like things that he did that were awful that you had like in your back pocket of like, well, here's a shitty thing I once did?
I try to keep it pretty vague because I wanted to give myself options to just yes and anything. It's like I wanted Grimnir to just have the vibe of like, he has done so many things, good, bad, indifferent, that he just has a story for everything. And I think I told Mike of like, yeah, just like literally whatever. Like I will yes and basically anything that is not against lines and veils, and just be like, yeah, Grimnir definitely did arson. Like a lot of arson. There was just like 9 months
arson.
where all he did was arson.
So much arson.
And yeah, he did fight a mind flayer that one time, and like, yeah, it wasn't good. And like, I that was just the vibe that I, especially for a 14th level barbarian fighter, like, had to have seen some shit, had to have done all kinds of things to amass that much XP while just murdering people with a large sword and
arson.
Yeah, and I don't know what the D&D arson kind of XP mechanics are, but I'm sure I had to have done a lot of it. Yeah,
perfect.
This is why we use milestones, okay?
Right.
I'm just gonna say
exactly.
it.
Right, exactly.
So you're saying if I burn down an entire village, that's a milestone achievement?
I think that's what Grimnir operated under on for some time.
Yeah, it's DM's discretion, Johnny. So you'd have to take it up with your DM at the time, and they will tell you to fuck off. And that's
but I think kind of the only thing that I really came up with Grimnir that was kind of like even semi-solidified was that there was a breaking point where something happened with his last adventuring group or last group that he was with, or like band of thieves, and
shitty mercenary company.
Right, exactly. And he may have even gotten that point, and he got like left behind, or he left, or he did something that was really bad, and either they left him or he decided he can't do it anymore. And then he realized, like, I don't have any friends left. Like, there is no one who I have associated with for the last like 20 years of my life that is alive, around, or wants to talk to me anymore. Bummer. and
that's not a nice feeling, is it? No.
Right. And that was what kind of fueled a lot of like of Grimnir for me, of just like, and that's why he threw himself so much into the book club, is because he didn't have a lot of other things going on, frankly. And like, he had nothing going for him. He knew he was good at what he did, but didn't necessarily want to do that anymore. And so he's like, yeah, I'll hang around with these weirdos, and I'll read books, even though sometimes it hurts my brain, and like, I'll do my best. And that was really kind of like the core of Grimnir, even when I didn't have like too many specifics.
This is not from chat. This is just from general things I've just been sent. Ilmata, god of healing in the Forgotten Realm, especially of very much personal injury. And there's an elvish god called something like Shananana. Sharindla?
Is that their full name? Something like Shananana.
Something like Shananana. It's Sharindla, I think. Hang on, let me find it. There it is. No, there it isn't. There, yeah, it's Sharindla.
Sharindla.
I mean, I think it's going to be the second one, because Grimnir would pronounce it as Shananana, either on accident or on purpose exclusively.
Oh, that's... Nathan, we've got to be careful. That might become canon without us realizing.
Too late.
Oh, no. What a terrible thing.
I like to think that Shananana has another aspect of their godhood called the Dadana.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a Manamana. It's like a whole trio of gods.
It's a pantheon,
they're all siblings.
Yeah.
What have we done? Good. Okay, before we roll dice, I have one more question. And I know it's a format point and I will get to it, but it's important to me that I ask this question. Level 14! Level 14. It is a lot. How did you find it? Highs, lows, moments where you went, God, I'm such a badass, or moments where you went, there's too many options.
I literally have a sticky note on this monitor, but the full size of my monitor with, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, just to try and remind myself.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, but and I even made a martial character, and it was still a lot. And so that was hard. So I did a lot of my own dice rolls, but I loved it story-wise because we started with such low stakes, and it was very fun to exist as semi-masters of a D&D world. Like,
yes.
Between the 5 of us, there's not a lot in the world that could really be too threatening to us in a fun, and it was fun to be able to explore that. Where like Mike said, of like, we get it, we are God, we're trapped here, yada yada, we're jumping through the hoops, totally cool, whatever, we'll get to you, don't be a dick. And that was a fun approach, like fun kind of headspace for us, at least I thought, for us to be kind of playing with, and one that you don't get too often, because usually at high level games it's like, all right, we're finding the even scarier thing to kick the absolute crap out of you guys. And so it's really fun to be a level 14 character who's just like, yeah, I don't know, and then now, yeah, there's a dragon and that's scary or whatever, but like we'll get to it. And okay, there's these other bandits and they're doing stuff, but like, come on, what are we doing?
Dragon was scary. What are we doing here?
Well, yeah, maybe I'm letting Grimnir influence me too much and my various resistances and large hit points. But
I will say the same thing I always say whenever combat happens. They're like, "Oh, that dragon was scary. None of you went down. Don't. That is. It's when the party start dropping, and when you go, one's down, and now 2 are down, and one's up again, but another one's down, and you go, yes, now they're scared. That's what I like.
I was very confident, very confident with the fact that I knew everything to do with Alaric in episodes 1 and 2, until we got to the combat in episode 3, where I realised I had spells the entire time.
Thing is, right, you were already filthy good, powerful, plus your level of description of like insanity before you added spells to that mix. And then you found Zephyr Strike and Ranger High Five. Zephyr Strike, easily the best spell in the game. Yeah.
I mean, you spent 90% of the dragon fight on top of the dragon's head.
Yes.
Always a good sign.
That was anime bullshit, that was.
That's actually one of the things I really liked about the combat, is that, again, I know that we are all level 14. And as Nathan said, I as a player know that most of these fights are not insurmountable for us at all. Yeah. And it was a really cool way just to watch everyone in 1 or 2 turns showcase something on their character sheet that was just absolutely incredible. Like the whole Tine fight in the ice.
The dragon transformation.
But just, I can't remember who it was, but they were just sitting back watching Tine just go full dragon. And it was so cool, because again, we know that we can do this, but Tina's got it sorted.
Yeah,
it was Alaric and Huxley. I just pictured that whenever Tina was spouting fire, we just held our teas up to warm them up. Ice packs. Just carried on drinking.
But yeah, it was, and the tree fight when Alaric first kind of stopped limping and just started teleporting around. We know that they're trees. Then it's not going to be too difficult to destroy, but it just allowed that really cool expression of your character of our characters to showcase what we can do, which was really, again, fulfilling.
Mike, from a DM perspective, I know as much as you do that level 14 is fucking difficult to DM, because you turn around and think, this will be a nice deadly encounter. Oh no, that person has that one spell. It is now nothing. Did you find that particularly driving, or was there an element of I've kind of planned for this?
I mean, the one fight I thought might have been problematic potentially was an ancient. Yeah. Amethyst Dragon, just because of what they can do. Some of their stuff is just particularly mean. But we all know CR is bullshit, let's be honest. So you throw stuff even if you think that encounter plus the 2 others that were going after Blazer's character made it a deadly encounter, but it just doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. Well, the one that Evie soloed on her own with Tine was a deadly encounter, and Tine did it on her own. So there's only so much you can do, but I think Johnny's just on the point. The expression of the characters through combat was just fascinating, and it meant that in other groups I've DM'd outside of this, you have to be prompting all the time to get descriptions and get them really feeling their characters and really encourage them, keep their energy up. I could just sit back and just let the encounter tick over, throw a couple of descriptions, attack them with something, and then just let them go again. And that was just such a pleasure, and made my job as a DM in those quite complicated encounters. And I don't know if I'm just the same, but I very rarely DM such high level players.
I don't think anyone does. Not like I don't think anyone ever DMs that level, but I think that from my personal experience, people tend to avoid the first couple of levels because they suck, and they tend to get to like level 10 to 14 to 15-ish, and then it tends to be when the campaign starts to wind down. I have DM'd level 20 stuff because it's been like a one-off event and that sort of thing, and you can. The thing is, encounter tailoring becomes less about what's the CR of the monster and more like action economy. I need everything that's fighting them to have significant action economy, because otherwise that is 5 turns where every single one of them can change the combat in an instant. So every single one of the creatures has to have legendary actions, mythic actions, God knows what else, to be able to keep up with the amount of player agency at that point. And it's why it's the thing that Wizards started doing about Theros, about 2-3 years ago now, giving legendary actions to CR5 creatures, giving mythic actions. In other words, the creature dies, but it comes back with all its hit points and a new ability. This is not even my final form stuff. Like, that is such a lovely addition to the game, because I think legendary actions at really low levels are super cool. Because then it's like a level 3 character going, I just can use legendary action, and they go, we're level 3. Like, they're going, what are you doing? Because it suddenly changes the economy setting entirely, and suddenly a boss becomes even more terrifying. I really like that. I like that the game's got inbuilt mechanics for taking that part of the CR aspect and making it scarier.
The players kind of were very clever with that as well, with an extra little thing of having the Prattler's influence.
It's true. Yeah.
The amount of times I was blindsided by Josh when he was like, I'm just going to shout out, I want to make this look cool. Prattler, help me make this look cool.
Yeah.
And, there was other things of changing the environment and little sort of hints of like, if I can just convince him, he might just be interested in either making this more interesting or doing something else. And that was really clever, and something I've not done before, where the world is actually malleable to the players.
I found it really interesting, because in my mind it was the Prattler's almost the DM. There's a level at which the Prattler is like the DM in this encounter, because you are providing elements for the players to engage with. It was a fascinating meta D&D stream. We've not rolled a dice yet, folks, and I can't, because I've got a question from not the audience, but from a fan, our delightful Tom.
Amazing.
Tom says something. Here we go. As The Dragon Within remains a classic, what would the rest of the party name their tell-all memoir, and what juicy secrets / illicit affairs might be revealed? I'm going to pick on someone unless someone volunteers.
Okay.
And Alaric's side hustle at the filthy section of the library.
Josh, we need another sexy pun. Go on, Liz, you were going to say something while Josh thinks of a sexy pun.
Huxley's memoir would be, hello, my name is Huxley Bricklesnout. That would be what it was called. It would be a rambling tome about nothing. Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet. Any juicy little nuggets hidden within?
I think there'd be a lot of passive bitching, but not intentional. Aimed possibly at Tine.
Oh,
because it usually happened all the way through the campaign.
Oh, that's fair. Tine's awful.
Yeah. No.
Would Tine read the book? She'd skim it.
Yes.
Probably wouldn't pick up on any of the subtext.
Tine would read it, would give it a skim and go, that's great. Well done.
Well done.
Well done. You've also written a book. Well done.
Well done. Let's see it outsell mine.
It's a new print copy.
Go on. What other books? I've got 3 more players and I want 3 more book titles.
So Grimnir would start writing a book and then be advised by friends, lawyers, maybe like some sort of like king or mayor that you can't write any of this because it is incriminating at best. And maybe, like would put like a target on your back, or is just too profane to write, and I would have to arrest you for putting this sort of slander. I guess it'd be libel, maybe. I don't remember which.
It's slander if it's written down, but also it's only slander if it's a lie. None of it's a lie.
Well, who's to say? But I think then Grimnir would pivot actually into whatever the fantasy equivalent of podcasts are. And,
oh no!
And then
why is he Joe Rogan? Don't do this to me.
It would be an interview show, and so that's tough. But I think there would be a lot of times where he would start telling a story, and then his producer would just be like, "You can't say that, can't say that," and he would just be like, "Oh yeah." Anyway, so it wouldn't be a good podcast, but he would try. So none books is the answer.
Grimnir's skin is sort of is it purpley dragon scales?
I don't remember what it was. I think it was like bluish, whitish, maybe. I don't remember, but either way.
Listen, you're not Joe Rogan, so it has to be like bright red all the time for no discernible reason. Why is he always bright red? I don't understand. Okay, John.
I've just thought of a title that has a dual meaning to it as well.
Perfect.
So the title would be Under Fire, because they were being attacked, but also the hidden message in there would be a blaze is a fire elemental who was out-flamed by Tine constantly.
So it's just a series of books shitting on Tine? That's what this is?
No, I think there'd be like half the book would just be speaking about Blaze is just in awe of Tine's fire and wants to be trained in fire breathing and stuff. So, I think there'd be more of like fan section about Tine and Tine's fire.
I'm not sure that's better.
Oh, it's
Fire fans!
Yeah, I'll be a fire fan, yeah.
Finally! Also, Teenage ghostwriter Martin Berry Burble is available for all of your project needs.
Is Merton Berry Burble the halfling from Ancient Antics who lived in the town? Is that the...
No, Martin Berry Burble is a grandson of Myrtle Berry Burble.
Oh!
My halfling granny character.
Oh, even better.
There's like over 100 of them in Waterdeep, so I figured one of them would...
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah.
I do have a question regarding any of the books that any of our characters would have. When the critics write like a little snippet of describing the book, do you think any of them would be described as deep, thick, and girthy? Like with stars afterwards?
Just a picture of your leg on the front.
Can we all agree that I want nothing more than a podcast that advertises itself as deep, thick, and girthy?
Chris, have you not been paying attention to all the Reckless Attack promos I've been putting out?
I love Reckless Attack, Nathan, but it's never been described as deep, thick, and girthy.
It has now.
You clearly haven't been following my latest Instagram reels that I've been putting out. It's a lie.
If you do it right now, then it will be true for when this goes out.
I guess that's
I don't want to have to Google deep, thick, and girthy. I'm just saying.
Go on, Josh.
Alaric has a particular fascination with the more erotic books.
Why are we here?
But Alaric. But Alaric himself did sort of make out of the Prattler's library with some books. So he would more do, if he was able to write a book of his own, it would be more of a book of his life, and it would be tailored in the way as an apology to his family, I think, because this is the only time I'm playing Alaric. So
you got the deep part down.
Yeah, I'm not playing Alaric again. I've got an ending for Alaric. So
well then, what's Alaric's ending, please?
He would, because in the last episode, when he had the final confrontation with his father, he went on about how he feels that he's failed Blaze in terms of the fact that age has taken over. So he would ask Tina to take Blaze, and then Alaric would have died.
Just old age.
Old age. He would have just died.
Not like straight away. Here you go, teenage.
Here you go,
Dead.
Collapse on teenage.
Timing.
if we'd done a like a character wrap up thing at the end, the ending that we did was absolutely fantastic. If we'd done a character thing at the end, it would have been Alaric would have sent off letters to his 2 sons and to his dad, would have sent Blaze off on their adventures so that they could deal with their stuff because he was no longer able to do it, and he would have just passed away peacefully.
So sad, because I'd know, because your name would disappear from my book as well.
Yeah.
Oh!
As much as I love the character build, yeah, but
I would have ruined your last words though, because you'd have said your last words, died, and then come back briefly, and oh shit, and then died again.
I'm pretty sure old age cancels out like rejuvenation spells.
I go off to the afterlife in peace. Oh shit.
Okay, that's more tragedy. Well, we're good at that. Mike, would the Prattler have a new book out? What would the Prattler's book be called?
I don't know if it'd be. It really depends on what mood he ended up in near the end, because everything was burning around him. I don't know if it was the ones that got away, maybe, or
oh no! Screw all of humanity,
or something more like on the nose. Because don't forget, anything the Prattler writes in his domain will appear somewhere in the material, whether it's produced in a bookshop or back in Blackstaff Library. It will appear somewhere. So,
well,
it could be.
I look forward to when one of these characters goes to a bookshelf, picks up a book called "I'm Going to Kill You." Oh.
It'd be more playful at this point, I think. He got beaten
to the story.
Maybe I'm going to kill you. Ooh.
There was I did have another idea where I was going to offer the Prattler to be the Prattler's friend if the Prattler put me in one of my own books, so I could relive my same memories over and over again.
No, he's dead. He's dead and gone.
He's dead now.
Until someone reanimates him as a reborn. Good. Oh, reborn with that skill build as well. It's just spicy. No. Right, we need to roll the dice at least once in the show, and I think we've got time for one dice roll. So make it good, Chris. Make it good.
Roll dice.
Roll that
Dice.
Dice roll ready for it. Ooh. I have rolled a 6. And a 6 means... No, I'm not going to ask that. We just did it. What was the saddest moment? We just had it. It was Josh. Mike, you've spoken the least, I feel. So I think we should ask you a question at the end, and the players can hopefully get excited by your answer. Banter. Were there any secrets or mysteries the players didn't solve or discover?
There was a couple. I always try to leave little hints as to what's to come. There was a conversation that Huxley and the Prattler had at the very, very, very start, where Huxley was embarrassed about his quill. And he made this sort of speech about how Huxley has all the power in his hands, never give up on the quill. And it ended that Huxley realized that he could change the narrative, be the narrator and change the story. And that was like a pre-hint at a solution that Huxley could come up with. There was a couple of others about the nature of the Prattler sort of mental state as it was sort of declining, i.e. The self-help books all being scattered around, and his abusive nature getting more and more intense, his attitude towards, so, I tried to leave little hints that sort of could change things. It was interesting, not in a single one of the stories did you kind of play along. You played along, but not fully, which I thought was really interesting. In every single sort of short story that the Prattler prepared, where basically, it was as simple as he just went poking around in the mines and picked something out. Not a single one of the character stories, any of them chose to just follow the path that the Prattler put in front of them. They were like, no, that's either not me anymore, or this is different, or I get to revisit this, or this is torture. I am not embracing this in any shape or form. And what I really enjoyed that the first 4 with this, it was real clash, immediate, like, no, we're not doing this. We're not playing this game. I'm going to change it to how I want it. The one person that didn't, and I thought for just a second that Liz might just not change Huxley's mind. Because there was a bit when Huxley embraced it, fell in love with the idea, and like, maybe I was just falling for like the way Liz was playing Huxley, because there was just so much like love in the way that they were talking as this character and the interactions. And then Liz started playing with describing how they would have been as a married couple in this home and stuff like that. And it got so real so quickly. And it was such a contrast compared to everybody clashing. Huxley just was like, oh, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. And
speaking of the saddest moment, yeah,
that was huge.
Liz, were you genuinely tempted? Would have left Huxley there forever?
So in game, I don't really go in with any specific idea of what I want to do. So I was just going with the motions. And sorry, Mike, I kind of took you on that journey with me. But yeah, I guess it was like, you know, Huxley's been presented with this situation. He's an intelligent bugbear, but often the heart will lead anybody to any stupid decision, and that's kind of where I went with that. So, yes.
Oh, can you imagine just leaving the characters there, and that was the end?
But then I was like, we kind of need to wrap this up, so Huxley can't linger on this too long.
Would have been.
So,
imagine that as an ending. Imagine that as a mic drop, like, and we're done.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah. But it was quite a real emotion of, you know, do you just go through the motions? Do you just follow your heart when you know it's the wrong thing to do and it's not right, but it feels real? So is it? It was quite a real thing to go on. So yeah, it was interesting.
Of how easy is it to forget about 4 people and just enjoy what you've got in front of me?
So for Huxley, I guess quite easy, but for Liz, I was like, oh my god, it's just me. Oh no, where's everyone else? Why can't they do the talking? But yeah, it was good.
That's about all we've got time for, folks. Unless anyone wants to throw in any last-minute thoughts. Anything they'd like to say about the end of the campaign? Any other wrapping ups they have to add?
I loved it. It was great fun. The concept was amazing.
I loved it. It was good. It was very good. I enjoyed playing in it very much. Thank you.
Yep.
I also loved it. It was very good.
I also loved it, and it was very good.
Come on!
I need all I can get.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was very good to watch, Mike. I enjoyed it.
I'll go a step further, and I will also say that, yeah, Mike, I think you did a great job of, even as unbelievably chaotic as the setup was, of just how high concept, high like strangeness and like not straightforward as it was, and how open-ended it was. I thought one of the things you did best was set the tone for that, and set the tone of like, it's all like things are progressing, all directions are valid, however you want to interact with it is totally good, and then reinforcing that by actually being fine when we interacted with it in all sorts of weird, strange ways. And that, I think, was the only way that it was really going to work, because it was this cool, high concept, weird, strange thing. And I think because you were putting kind of, you were pushing just the right buttons, dialing it in just so, and kind of making sure everyone was feeling good and empowered throughout the whole process, I think was a real lovely DM magic trick that I think you did very well.
That's awesome. But we can't leave anything without saying thank you to Huxley, because none of this would have happened without Huxley.
Thank you, Huxley.
True.
Thanks.
For this wholesome trauma.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I bestowed trauma upon everybody.
And with that, we're going to wrap up. Yay! That's a gift, Liz. Good. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and being part of the show. We stream Talk Togethers and Talking is a Free Action, our chat shows where we chat about what we're doing and what other people do, and other TTRPG-related bits and bobs, or question dungeons, or all sorts of like little hour-long things. This on Saturdays, 6 p.m. It's currently British summertime, but there's also GMT when that is the correct time, because that's how that works. We also stream D&D games on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays are our new shows, and we are currently streaming Fracture, which is our long-running campaign, and we are also now about to start Monsters and
Maelstrom.
Thank you, Monsters and Maelstroms, Lola's show, which you can see Mike and me and Nathan. Is it just us? Yeah, it's just us. For the next 8 weeks, because it's 4 weeks on and off with Fracture. It's on and off on Mondays, and on Tuesdays we are currently streaming reruns of some of our very successful, very popular shows. I think we're probably nearing the end of Sea of Swords Forsaken. Not sure what's next in the schedule. Put in, might be Seekers of Elturel. That'd be fun. That's one to revisit as well. Anyway, that's on Tuesdays. All of our shows stream at twitch.tv/AllTogetherRPG, and they are available on YouTube directly afterwards, or within a day or so. That's youtube.com/AllTogetherRPG. And there's also podcast versions everywhere. Just search your favorite podcasting app for Roll Together RPG. Reminder, we're on the social medias where you can do all the things that help people engage with the social medias.
Do it.
And you can always check the time on TikTok. I understand how this works. We're also on Patreon. Please do patronize us. Please help. Everyone's lovely. The support is much appreciated. Josh is doing the heart hands that I
can't do it.
He's
What do
forgetting
you
how to
do?
do. Yeah.
Are these my hands?
Are these my hands? Yes, thank you very much. Patreon, thank you very much, D20 Club, and all our sponsors and supporters. You are all marvelous. And thank you, everyone here. And stay classy at the table.